to the 7th episode of the Eldenwood Craft podcast. My name's Emma and I'm coming to you today from my home in Surrey in the southeast of the UK. This is a podcast all about my crafty life. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to spend with me today. If you're a returning viewer, hello, thank you for coming back. And if you're a new viewer, hello and thank you for checking me out. I hope you all enjoy what I've got to talk about over the next 45 minutes or so. If you do, please do give me the thumbs up, which you'll find underneath here somewhere. And if you don't want to miss out on any future episodes, please do press the subscribe button. Where you can find me online or everywhere that I am Eldenwood Craft. I'm most normally hang out on Instagram and I also have Ravelry pages where you can find details of all the projects that I'll show you today. Excuse me. But I'm also on Twitter, on Facebook, see if I can remember where else I am. Pinterest, I've got some Pinterest pages. And I also have a website, eldenwoodcraft.co.uk, and on there you can find details of you'll find the show notes, you'll find details of shop updates. Yes, what I didn't tell you just now was that I also have an Etsy shop, if you weren't aware, and I sell project bags for crafters in my Etsy shop, and that also is Eldenwood Craft, sorry, get my words out. So my website, you'll find all the show notes, details of shop updates and other shop news, giveaways and things like that. And every now and then I pop in a blog post about what I've been up to. I think that's all the where you can find me bits and pieces. What we'll be talking about today, just checking down my show notes, we will be looking at one finished object. I'm just looking over there to see what I've got. So finished object, a couple of whips, some details about a cow. Oh yes, starting a cow. What else have we got? Some basket of lovely treats. Look at this. This is some bits and pieces to show you that have come my way over the last few weeks since I last recorded, and a little bit of a shop update at the end. So without further ado, I think we will crack on. The first thing, which I didn't mention, I have an update on my box of shame. If you haven't seen, I think it was episode 2, it may have been episode 1, pretty sure it was episode 2 though. I showed you my box of shame, which is a box that we all have of projects that we've completed but haven't quite completed, so they haven't been blocked or had the ends sewn in, and that sort of thing. So I had what I felt was quite a substantial box of shame, and I'm very pleased to say that it is almost all clear. I've just got a couple of pairs of socks left to weave in the ends, but all the shawls have been tidied up, and a few pairs of socks have come out of hibernation from there and have been on my feet. And today I am wearing one of those items from my box of shame. It's my Lily Pilly shawl. Now, if you remember, or if you watched that episode and remember, you'll remember that I wasn't overly keen on, I wasn't feeling the love for the Lily Pilly shawl. I think it was the colours and the way it was looking unblocked. And I should obviously have known that the blocking would change things, because now I absolutely love this. I finished blocking this last weekend, and I think I've come to the realisation that the Lily Pilly shawl, rectangular type shawls, or shawls based on the rectangular shape, are probably my favourite shape of shawl, because you can tie them really easily and have these dangly ends woven down. That's just how I like to wear my shawls. So let me just show this to you. So, Lily Pilly shawl. It's a pattern by Amber O'Brien. you'll find it on Ravelry, so I can show you the right way. It's a lace and garter. Oops. I'm going to hide my face for a minute. Oops, obviously there's a mistake there, I think. So it's a lace and garter striped shawl. I knit mine out of Bahram U Titus 4-ply. It's a little bit on the itchy side for me. I have fairly sensitive skin. I do suffer from prickliness around my neck sometimes. And it's a little bit prickly, but at the moment I've worn it once and I just about coped with it. I don't think I could wear it for an awfully long time, but for short periods of time it was fine. It's really, despite its prickliness, it's really soft. Yeah, so I'm not, I like the colours. They're not really my colours. I'm more of a blues and greys, but I do like these neutrals. The green is okay. I wonder if you can see actually that lace pattern that forms. Oh, I don't know that I'm going to do this very well. No. Oh, I really want to show you this. Yeah, you can just about see the lace pattern there, can't you? So yeah, so I love the shape. I'm going to knit some more shawls, scarfy type things in that elongated rectangular shape because I love just being able to wrap it round and tie it off like that, and I think that's what suits me best. However, I'm not going to keep it on because it's quite warm today. So that's the Lily Pilly shawl. I'm really pleased with that. I'd like to make something very similar, but maybe without quite the intricacies of the lace. Maybe just some simple yarn over rows instead of the lace motif. But we'll see. I have a very long queue of things that I want to make, so we'll see. So yeah, that's the Lily Pilly shawl. I'm reasonably pleased with that, and it will get some use. Before I blocked it, I was sceptical as to whether I would wear it, but I know now I definitely will, so yay. Okay, on to a finished object. Let's reach over here, and these are my Mercury socks. Everybody pretty much seems to have knit a pair of these. I finished mine 2 or 3 weeks ago. Really pleased with them. I love the yarn. They were knit out of Molly of a Homespun House's Olsen fingering base in the Half-Blood Prince colourway. So I've called these my Half-Blood Prince Mercury socks. And there is one. And there is the other. Put one down. The yarn, I'm sure you will agree, is just lovely. So pleased with it. I almost wish actually that I had just knit plain socks in these without the lace pattern, because I really love the way that these have turned out down here and on the toe. So a little bit about the pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I can never remember the name of the designer, but I will put that in the show notes. I did a 2x1 rib at the top. It was a cast on of 72 stitches. Again, I thought 72 stitches. It's going to make quite a baggy sock. Of course, the lace pattern cinches it in a little bit. It is still quite baggy. I normally knit 64 stitches on 2.25mm needles, and these, I can't remember if these were knit on 2.25 or 2.5. I think it was 2.25. But 72 stitches seemed an awful lot. Having just tried them on this morning for the first time, which was quite exciting. Yes, they're a little bit baggy, but not so much that they're going to fall down my leg. They're very, very wearable. So there's this lace pattern that comes down the leg and the calf. It's a slip stitch heel, and the toe, just looking down here because I absolutely loved this toe. It's the rounded toe. I'd been struggling to find the right sort of toe for my socks. I wasn't mad keen on the look of the normal toe where you decrease on either side on the front and the back and then Kitchener off. Not my favourite. I tried a whirlwind toe which didn't really seem to fit fantastically well, and then I discovered this rounded toe on the Interweave website. It's a free pattern, so I'm not going to be giving anything away when I tell you how I did it, but basically the first round you decrease 1 stitch every 6 stitches. I think this is right from memory. You'll have to go and look it up if you're interested for the full details, but from memory, decrease 1 stitch every 6 stitches, knit 6 rows plain, decrease 1 stitch every 5 stitches, then 5 stitches knit plain, and then 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and so on, and then you pull your, when you get to the end, you pull your yarn through the stitches that are left and pull in tight. I just think it creates a really lovely rounded toe. Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, really pleased with these. I will be wearing these tomorrow. I think they'll get their first outing tomorrow. So yeah, I'll put all the details of those in the show notes, and I have a Ravelry page for those. So the Mercury socks, highly recommend them if you haven't knit a pair. The lace pattern is very memorable. Once I'd got past the first couple of repeats, I didn't need to look at the pattern again. And if you can get your hands on any of Molly's yarn, I would highly recommend that as well. It's a BFL base, which is lovely, really like that. Okay, on to some whips. Let me just pop those down there. Just drop my project bag. So in my lovely Craft House Magic bag, I have another pair of socks on the go. Just take them both out. Okay, they're a little bit difficult to show you because they are in progress. Get them the right way around. So these are my very springy green shorty socks. Not as shorty as I'd intended. I just carried on knitting and forgot to start the toe, the heel flap, but that's not a problem. Get rid of that. So I'm knitting these out of Yantan Tetherer yarns in her Pedero base. I think the colourway is called Whispering Grass, and you can see why. It's really lovely. I bought 2 skeins of this yarn to knit. I forget the name of the shawl, but it was a big shawl. And actually, I know, as you do, you buy these yarns with projects in mind and never get round to it. And then it came to springtime this year, and I thought, oh, they look really lovely and spring. All the yarn looks really lovely and spring-like. And I just felt they had to be a pair of socks. So knitting these without a pattern, 2 by 2 rib at the top for about 15 rows, plain leg section, slip stitch heel flap, and then I'm into the foot, and you can see the other one here. Just tuck the ball up in the leg. So yeah, a little bit further down the foot on this one, but not much. I think I'm heading towards stopping for the toe decreases, and I'm going to do the rounded toe that I just showed you on there. Beautiful yarn. I'm a big fan of Helen's Pedero base, Yantan Tetherer's Pedero base. But what's exciting for me about these socks is the needles that I'm using, and you can see that they're being knit on short circulars. I had tried short circulars a few months ago on a pair of socks and absolutely hated them with a passion. I've still got them, but I will never use them. However, if I can find the packet, I had heard about the difference that having asymmetrical needles makes for short circulars, and how people who had not got on with the normal shorts found the asymmetrical tips much easier to manage. So I thought I'd try them. I bought some Addy Sock Wonders. I think I got mine from Laughing Hens in the UK, but then I bought a second pair on eBay, actually, I think it was, because there was free shipping. So they're the Addy Sock Wonders, and if I can hopefully show you, you will see that one tip, easier over that way, one tip is longer than the other one, so this one is slightly longer than this one, and you hold, if you're right-handed like I am, you hold the longer tip in your right hand and knit away, and that just that little bit extra. Knitting on a podcast is quite stressful. The extra tip, the extra length on the tip of the right-handed needle just gives you that extra stability that you need. So yeah, I really like these. I can definitely see myself knitting lots more socks using the short circulars in the future. It's so true what people say, that when you get used to them, the socks just whiz by. I've knit these fairly quickly for me, certainly quicker than using DPNs or Magic Loop. The beauty of them is obviously you don't get any laddering because there is no joining between needles, and you just knit and knit and knit and knit, and before you know it, you have almost knit a sock. So if you have thought about trying these, trying short needles but weren't sure about them, I definitely recommend these ones. Really, really fabulous. The only problem with them, the only problem with them is that they don't seem to come in 2.25mm sizes. They do a 2mm, 2.5mm, and a handful of sizes above that, but no 2.25. And I know that so many sock knitters do knit using 2.25mm needles. So Addy, please give us a 2.25 size. That would be really helpful. Thank you all. Okay, the other work in progress that I've got is sitting over here. Something that you've seen before that I thought might be finished for this podcast, but I didn't quite get there. I've got something like 4, 8, 12, 13 more rows to go, so very close to finishing, but they are blooming long rows. They're about 400 stitches on each row, so that's a lot of stitches to knit. But it is my hollow shawl by Melody of the Mandarines podcast. And here it is. It's absolutely beautiful. So you can see it's made up of garter rows and eyelet rows, and the shaping is done through short rows. Knitting it out of whoops, everything's falling on the floor. I do seem to drop a lot of things on podcasts. So knitting it out of this Blacker Swan Falkland Islands wool in the 4-ply, and the colour is Pale Maiden, I believe. I can't see it on. Yeah, Pale Maiden. So they come in 50 gram balls, 175 metres per ball. This is it in its ball form. And as I said on the last podcast, it's the squishiest, softest yarn that I have ever knit with, and I want to knit everything in it in the future. It's going to be beautifully long. I have not used the best size needles to show you. You see it's all cinched up. But I think once it's finished, it's just going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to get that done. I would have thought those last 13 rows may even get done over this bank holiday weekend. We've got a long weekend this weekend in the UK, so maybe that will get finished. I had wanted to start my Vertices Unite shawl once I had got a significant way into this, but I was just enjoying knitting this so much that I couldn't stop, and I didn't want to stop because I knew that if I started the Vertices Unite, I would not want to put that down either. So, and that's a great thing, isn't it? To have so many things that you knit, that you enjoy, can only be a good thing. The needles that I'm using, again, they're on the floor. Chiaogu lace, 4mm needles, and they are very nice, very happy with those. I would definitely use those again. Yeah, I think that's everything to say about that. Beautiful pattern, well written. I did have to rip back a section on the first short row section. I'd done my turning not fantastically well, so I ripped out because I wanted it to be right, and I'm glad I did. So yeah, hollow shawl will be a finished object next time I record my podcast. My other projects have been hibernating. I've really been focusing on that and sock knitting for the last month. So my cardigan has had no love on it at all. My sock yarn blanket has had a teeny tiny bit of yarn knitted into it, but not enough to show you anything substantial today. I've woven in some of the ends, and that's about it. And everything else is in their project bags packed away. So after I finish knitting that, then I will move on to the Vertices Unite shawl by Stephen West, and that will be a whip for next time, I very much hope. Okay, the next thing I want to have a chat about is a cowl that I am running in conjunction with Ellie from Craft House Magic. Hi Ellie! And it's a cowl for a pair of mittens. Now the story behind this cowl, I've had this pair of mittens in my queue for the longest time. I've knit one mitten before and have pulled it out because it was too narrow around my hands. I don't think I've got fantastically huge hands, but this was just too tight and too short, and it just wasn't working for me, so I pulled that one out, ripped back. So I really had been looking for a pair of mittens that I wanted to knit because I've got to have a pair for next winter. The gloves that I've got, the mittens that I've got shop bought, are falling apart, so they are about to go in the bin. And I'd had this pattern in my queue for a long time, absolutely loved it, loved the yarns that the designer had used. And I'd been thinking about casting them on for a while. And then I saw, I think it was on Instagram, Ellie, rather than your podcast, I'm sure it must have been Instagram, that Ellie was planning on knitting these as well. So we got in touch and said, hey, why don't we do a cowl? I've not done a cowl before, and as you know, I'm not fantastically good at participating in cowls, so I tend not to. But it's certainly a very podcastery thing to do, isn't it? So I thought, I really must start to take part in more cowls, and I really should have my own cowl for the podcast. So Ellie and I agreed to have a cowl for these mittens, and these are they. So as you can see, they're very simple mittens. I just love those colours. If I had that exact yarn to knit the mittens in, then I would use those, but I don't. And actually, I haven't brought the yarn with me to show you. But that's fine, because the cowl has got a little way before we start it. We are going to start it on May the 23rd, and it will finish at the end of June. Now, we've chosen those dates because Ellie is getting married very soon, I believe. It may even be next weekend, Ellie. And she's going on honeymoon, and when she comes back from honeymoon, that's when we're going to start the cowl. There will be prizes. We are both going to provide prizes for the cowl. I will be giving away a project bag and something else probably, and Ellie's going to do the same. Just looking at my notes to make sure I give you enough information to get you started. There will be a cowl thread in Ellie's Ravelry page, and heavens above, I'm going to start a Ravelry group as well. So I haven't done that yet, but I will put details of it in the show notes. I'll try and get that done as I write the show notes up. But it'll be the Eldenwood Craft podcast. I will put in the usual threads, the question threads. I'll sort it all out, and then I will let you all know when it's done. The rules will be that finished objects will be in line for winning prizes. You will need to be a member of both groups to take part. Whips will count if there's anybody out there who is knitting these mittens. And you know, I haven't told you what they are. I think I'm going to scramble back and re-record that section. So the next thing I'm going to tell you about is a cowl. You'll be aware that I've not done a cowl in my podcast before, and I thought it was about time I did. The story behind this cowl is that I'd seen Ellie of Craft House Magic post a picture in her Instagram feed of a pair of mittens, and as soon as I saw them, I thought, oh, I've got those mittens in my queue. I've been meaning to cast them on for a long time because they're lovely. I've got a picture here to show you in a minute. And so we got in touch and said, why don't we do a cowl together for these mittens? I'm just looking here at the notes to make sure I give you all the right information for them. So the cowl is going to start on May the 23rd. And the reason it's so far in the future, Ellie is getting married. Hello, Ellie. And May the 23rd is when she's back from her honeymoon. And so we thought that was a good time to start the cowl. And it will run through until the end of June. Now, the project that we would like, if you want to take part, the project that we'll be knitting, and it's a one pattern cowl, so only these, and it's for these striped mittens. I'm not showing you the front page. The front page is in a language that I forget what it is, but I think it looks like a Scandinavian language. But they are the striped mittens. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. They are by designed by Lena Gerald. And I will put a link to the pattern in the show notes. Just a simple pair of mittens, but I love the colours. It was the colours in this pattern that drew me to it. And if I had those colours, I would knit the mittens out of them, but I don't. So I'm going to use the minis from 5 Moons that I showed you a few podcasts ago, and a dark grey as the consistent stripe through it. In the picture she uses a light grey, but I think I'm going to use a dark grey. I might use a light grey. I'm not sure. We'll see. So, details of the cowl. Ellie will be announcing details on her podcast too. probably round about this weekend, I would have thought. But we just wanted to give you as much notice as possible if you wanted to gather your bits and pieces ahead of the start date. So as I said, it's starting on May the 23rd, running through till June, the end of June. We haven't quite worked out how we'll draw prizes yet. But you will need to have completed a pair of the mittens to be in for a chance of winning prizes. We'll both be contributing prizes, and as we both make project bags, there will be project bags for prizes, and probably a skein of yarn from my stash, and Ellie will do something similar, I'm sure. Looking at my notes to make sure I give you all the right information, Ellie has a Ravelry group already set up, a well-established Ravelry group. You need to be a member of Ellie's Ravelry group, Craft House Magic, and I too will be setting up a Ravelry group at long last. I haven't done so yet, but I hope to have done so by the time this podcast goes out and the show notes are done, and it'll be something like Eldenwood Craft Podcast Group, something like that. Ellie is hosting the prize thread, the finished objects thread, and I will be hosting the chatter thread. So do come in, and if you're taking part, chat away and tell us what yarns you'll be using and your progress and so on. And Ellie will be having, as I said, the finished object thread where you can post your finished objects to be in with a chance of winning. You'll need to be a member of both groups to be in with a chance of winning. Whips are allowable if by any chance there is somebody out there already knitting these mittens, then you will be eligible for entering if you've knit no more than about one mitten. So if you're halfway through both, that would be fine. If you've knit one and haven't yet started on the other, then that would be eligible too. And every good cow needs a hashtag to go with it, and the hashtag that we are using will be, get this right, Crafty Knitalong. I will make sure it's on the bottom of the screen. So it'll be hashtag Crafty Knitalong. Share your works in progress on Instagram or your social media of choice, and we will come and see how you're doing. So I will probably podcast again round about the start date for the Knitalong, but I will put, as we get closer to the date, I'll put something on Instagram and on my website just to remind you. So that's quite exciting. I've not done a Knitalong or hosted a Knitalong before, so I hope I've got everything right. Ellie has done a few, so she will prompt me and correct me, no doubt. Thank you, Ellie. Please do. Okay, shall we have a look at my basket of treats? I have been lucky enough to acquire a few lovely bits and pieces since I last saw you, from two very lovely UK-based indie dyers. The first, let me show you these first. I've already mentioned her, Helen from Yantan Tethera Yarns. Helen had a shop update fairly recently. I wasn't planning on buying anything, but we just can't help ourselves, can we, sometimes? So I treated myself, oh, that's blowing out, to this lovely skein of her Pedro base yarn in the colourway Bake Off. I think that's really clever. I love, this is one of my favourite yarn colourways to knit with. And there's some pinks and blues in there. Oops. And with a name like Bake Off, it is clearly intended to represent a cake. Really clever. I love it. I can't wait to knit. It will be socks for sure. I can't wait to knit those. And if you're not familiar with Helen's yarn, it's really lovely and soft. As I said before, I do like knitting out of that. Her pedero base is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon, and they're very generously, you get a good amount of yarn for your 100 grams. The label here says 464 yards or 425 metres. And while I was browsing Helen's update, I also saw these beautiful minis. I had no need for them. I had no need for that either, but as you do. But I just thought these were nice and super springy. I love this orange. Don't think I have any orange yarn. And I also particularly love this one here. It reminds me of a summer meadow. So these are all 20 gram minis, again in her pedero base. It's 100 grams, so there's a full skein of yarn in 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5 beautiful colourways. They do look like spring flowers, don't they? Very pretty. Thank you, Helen. The other lovely yarn that has come my way comes from another UK dyer, Karen of the Twisted Limone Etsy shop. And I'd been eyeballing Karen's yarn for a long time. I'm a big fan of I think you call them the gobstopper balls. So self-striping yarn that is pre-wound into a lovely big ball of beautifulness. And I'd become aware of Karen's shop through Instagram, been following her for a little while, and had always managed to miss out on a shop update. But this time I was lucky and I picked up this beautiful ball in the catnip colourway. So greens, and it's blowing out a little bit. It's greens and grey and speckled greens. There's her card and a lovely little sheep progress maker. And so this is Karen's Zingy 75/25 self-striping sock yarn. It's a superwash merino nylon 75/25, so perfect for socks. And it's, funnily enough, it's the same yardage as the Antantethera yarn, so I know that I'll be able to get some fantastic socks out of this. So Twisted Limone on Etsy. Now that's not all. Karen and I got talking on Instagram and we agreed to do a swap. Thank you, Karen. I loved that. I love doing a swap. And so I sent Karen a bag. Actually, I haven't sent Karen a bag. It's right here. And after I finish podcasting, I'm going to go and pop it in the post. But I've already had Karen's yarn, and Karen was very quick off the mark. Thank you, and thank you for putting me to shame. But the yarn that she sent me was that. I absolutely love it. So this is her Floating By colourway. Look how amazing that is. Blues and greens. The white is blowing out. Not really. I've got a window opposite me today that I don't normally have, and it is blowing some of the colours out. But really vibrant, zingy spring summer colours. So again, they will make some fantastic socks. Somebody on Instagram actually said that this looks like the earth. It does, doesn't it? It's the colours of the oceans and the land. Really lovely. And there's Karen's card again. So again, this is the Superwash Merino Nylon. Really pleased with that. So 2 fabulous Twisted Limone yarns. If you haven't had a look at her Etsy shop, then I really recommend going and having a look. She does sell out very quickly of the colourways, and you can understand why when you see these. But if you go and have a look at her sold yarns, you'll see some amazing, you'll see some amazing colourways. So yeah, highly recommended. Oh, the yarns came, or the swap yarn came with this beautiful handmade card. Thank you, Karen. Really lovely. Okay, so those are my acquisitions. I have bought one other ball of yarn that hasn't reached me yet. It's coming from America, and I will show you that next time. I'm very excited about that. It's another gobstopper ball type yarn, I think that's how I've asked for it to be sent. Anyway, I will show you that next time. As well as buying some yarns, I've done a little bit of dyeing. I feel slightly embarrassed about showing you these because they in no way match up to the yarns that you have seen already today. But I just thought it was a bit of fun to show you what I've been up to with my daughter over the last school holidays. We had the Easter 2-week holiday break recently, and although my daughter is not into crafting pretty much in any way, she likes to get the cross stitch out every now and then. She doesn't knit. She knows how to knit, but she's not interested at the moment. She likes to do calligraphy. She's just started getting into that, so maybe that's her thing. But in terms of the yarny based stuff, she's not overly interested. However, she had expressed an interest a little while ago about dyeing some yarn, and we'd watched a few YouTube videos about dyeing yarn with food dye, and so we thought Easter holidays were the perfect time to do it. And with huge thanks to Ali of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast, I followed what Ali had done, and this is what we came up with. I thought it was just interesting to show you. It's really easy to do at home. I don't know that you get the same, well, I know you don't get the same effect as the proper indie dyers do using their acid dyes, but it is a bit of fun, and the skeins that I'll show you will make some fairly decent socks. This is clearly going to blow out, but this was a yarn, a yarn that we painted. So I won't go into the full details, but we soaked it, and then we spread this yarn out onto some plastic, and we dyed up. We made up some variations of a blue food dye, different strengths, so a gradient, I suppose, of different colourways, and this is what we came up with. I actually rather like this. I would buy this if I saw it in an indie dye shop. So if Yantan Tetherer Yarns or if Nora George Yarns wants to dye up something like this, I'll definitely buy it from you. It's quite difficult to see with the blowing out, but you can see lots of different blues in there. And then the other one we did, this was an attempt at two-tone, I don't know what you call it, two-tone dyeing. So we mixed up some of this red and some blue, and we immersed the one half of the yarn in the red and one half of the yarn in the blue, and let the magic do its thing, and that's what we came out with. And again, I quite like that. It's not fantastic, but it will certainly knit up into a fine pair of socks. The yarn that we bought, the bare yarn that we bought, was from Knit Picks. So when I did a Knit Picks order recently, I popped in a couple of bare skeins of their can't remember the base, but it's their standard 4-ply sock yarn, and it is really soft. So there's absolutely no reason that these won't knit into a fine pair of socks. The food colouring that we used was from Wilton's, I think that was what it was called. You can buy a pack of 8 gel colours for about £10 from Hobbycraft or Lakeland or Amazon, places like that. I got mine from Hobbycraft. And they come in little pots, and you only need a very small amount of gel to create some colour. So it's good value for sure. So yeah, we did our own bit of yarn dyeing. We'll do a bit more. It's certainly not going to replace my yarn buying addiction that I have, but it's a bit of fun, and if I can get my teenage daughter interested in some yarny goodness, then all well and good. Okay, so the final thing, I just want to have a quick chat about my Etsy shop. Let me pop my yarn balls away and pull out some bags to show you. So Etsy, I will be having a shop update on May the 1st, which is this coming bank holiday Monday. I haven't quite decided on the time yet, so if you're watching this ahead of that, I will post the details on my website and on Instagram and on the Etsy shop banner at the top as well. The bags that I've got a handful of bags here, as you can see. Some alpine trees that you will probably be familiar with if you've seen me around on Instagram or on here before. And I have a new fabric that I bought for the spring. So it has some flowers on. These need an iron and a tart up before they go into the shop. I thought they were quite nice and springy. So I'll have a mixture of sock size bags and shawl size bags to go into the shop on Monday. I also have, hopefully, will have one of my sheet bags. I'm halfway through making one of those at the moment. So assuming I get the time to finish that before Monday, that will go in the shop as well. Thank you for all the love for my sheet bags. They've been a lot of fun, and I know there is somebody over in Canada who has been lucky enough to snap up 2 of them as they've gone into the shop. So hello, thank you for purchasing those. They're quite hard work to make, but I do enjoy making them. They're hard because they are so big. It's not really hard work, is it? It's fun, but they seem harder to do than the sock size bags that I do. And going forwards, I will well, actually, just looking back, a couple of weeks ago, I had an update in the middle of the week where I did something slightly different that I've not done before, and again, that was a lot of fun. I offered a sort of make your own bag option where I put up, I think it was about 5 of my fabrics that I tend to use, and offered you a sock bag in your choice of those 5 fabrics with the choice of closing. So you could choose either a zip closing or a drawstring closing. So I thought that was quite a bit of fun, and I will do that going forwards when I have time during the month to do those made to order bags. So my plan going forward is to have a full shop update, or a proper shop update at the end or beginning of the month, that sort of time, and then this make your own bag around the middle of the month, if time allows. May might be slightly different because I am just in the middle of doing a big exciting order for a shop over in America with some special bags there. I can't say any more than that at the moment, but it's a very exciting opportunity for me to be able to supply this fantastic shop, and I will put some information about that when I can on my Instagram account and on the website. So this month's update, as I said, is Monday the 1st of May. I haven't decided on the time. I'm going to try and work out the best time to be able to accommodate everybody around the world. I know my updates tend to be either around about lunchtime UK time or dinner time UK time. I know that doesn't always suit people over in Australia, and I have had a few people coming back to me to say, oh, missed out again because of the timing. So I will try and work out the best time to suit our Antipodean friends, European friends and American friends. I hope I get it right. But the way that I've been working, I think I've certainly been able to have more updates over the last month, a couple of updates, and I seem to have got myself into quite a nice routine. So hopefully updates will happen more regularly, and you'll be able to pick up a bag that if you want one. I've just had delivery actually this morning of some fun new fabrics for the summer months, and I put an order in this morning as well for some other fabrics. So I'm going to have a bit of a summer feel over June, July, certainly June and July. I suspect August my shop will be closed, but there will be some lovely summer type bags coming your way very soon. I think that's probably all I have to say today. Hope I haven't rambled on too long. So I will load the show notes up onto the website as soon as I can. It'll be at some point over this weekend, I believe. Etsy update coming soon. The Cal news, look out for Ravelry group. Look out for the Ravelry group. Look out for news on Instagram and the website about the Cal. May the 23rd is the start date. I'll be posting some pictures on Instagram of the yarn that I'm going to use and a reminder of the starting date. Ellie, I'm sure at some point will do the same, but she has got far more important things on her mind at the moment. So good luck, Ellie. I hope everything goes okay for you over the next few weeks. Have fun, enjoy, and congratulations. So until I podcast again, which will probably be about towards the end of May, happy knitting and stay well, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, bye.